Categories of networks. So generally a computer network can be categorized by its size. There are four different types of computer network categories. The first one is local area network, or also called as LAN. The second one is personal area network, also called as PAN. The third one is metropolitan area network, also called as MAN. And the last one is wide area network, also called as WAN. Now let us go with the first type of network called LAN. So LAN is also called as local area network, as discussed. It is a group of computers which are connected to each other in small areas such as buildings and offices. So LANs are used for connecting two or more personal computers through a communication medium. So this medium can be a twisted pair, a coaxial cable, etc. Generally the LANs are less costly because they are built with the inexpensive hardware such as hubs, network adapters and Ethernet cables. So here the data is transferred at an extremely faster rate, okay, and also local area network provides higher security because these networks are owned privately by the organizations. Okay, now here you see there are 12 number of computers connected in a LAN which are connected to the hub here. So this is a LAN. So here the most widely used LAN technology is nothing but Ethernet, and it is specified in a standard called IEEE 802.3. And also Ethernet uses star topology. Okay. The next one is the number of devices which are connected in a LAN can range from 2 devices to several thousands of devices. So depending upon the type of communication medium, whether it is twisted pair or fiber optic cable used, data rates of this LAN may range from 100 megabits per second to 10,000 megabits per second. Okay, the thing is that all the time when we are building a network, we have to build that network with greater capacity than it is currently required. Okay, let us say for our institution we require some amount of capacity. So in that amount of capacity, so what we have to do, more than that capacity we have to construct the network, because to future proof a network, so it is always a good idea to design a network such that only 30% of its capacity is used. Let us say we have 100% as a capacity, so we should think that only 30% of the capacity is used and the other 70% of the capacity must be used for future. Okay, so as more and more applications are running over the networks, as we see, so higher network performance is also required. So the most common LAN topologies we have are bus, ring and star topologies. So the next one is personal area network. Personal area network is nothing but it is a network arranged within an individual person within a range of 10 meters. Okay. Next one is personal area network is used for connecting the computer devices for our personal use. So as you see here, this computer is connected to all the personal devices wherein let us say we use Bluetooth, okay, we use USB. Okay, so all these are comes under personal area network. So generally personal area network covers an area of 30 feet. So Thomas Zimmerman is the first researcher, a scientist who brought the idea of personal area network. So generally there are two types of personal area networks. The first one is wired personal area network and the second one is wireless personal area network. So Wi-Fi and Bluetooth comes under the wireless personal area network, and the USB devices which we are connecting our computers to our mobiles. So all these devices comes under wired personal area network. So this is all about personal area network. The next one comes is metropolitan area network. A metropolitan area network is nothing but which covers a large geographical area wherein it interconnects different LANs. This is one LAN, this is one LAN, this is one LAN, this is one LAN. So it connects all the different LANs to form a larger network. So generally government agencies use these MANs, metropolitan area networks, to connect to the citizens and private industries. Okay, so the most widely used protocols in MAN are RS-232, frame relay, ATM, ISDN, ADSL, etc. Okay, so this metropolitan area network is having higher range when compared to local area network. So what are the uses of metropolitan area network? So a metropolitan area network is used in communication between the banks within a city. It is used in airline reservation, and it can be used in a college within a city, and it is also can be used for communication in the military. So now the next one is wide area network. So coming to the wide area network, it provides long distance transmission of data, images, audio and video over large geographical areas, that is it covers the entire country or a continent or even the whole world. There are two types of wide area networks. The first one is switched WAN. Coming to the switched WAN, a WAN can be as complex as backbones that connect the internet. So if you see here, the switched WAN here connects all the end systems here. So these usually comprise an internet working connecting devices called routers, which we will be seeing in the next classes. So which connects to another LAN or another wide area network. So example for switched WANs are X.25 network, ATM, asynchronous transfer mode network, etc. So the second type of WAN is point to point WAN. So a point to point WAN is simple as a dial-up line which connects our home computer to the internet. Okay, so generally this point to point WAN is a leased line from a telephone or cable TV operator or provider which connects our home computer or our LAN to the internet service provider. Okay, so generally this type of WAN is going to provide our internet access. Thank you. Protocols. So a protocol is nothing but a rule. It consists of set of rules which governs the data communications. Okay, so these protocols determines what is to be communicated, how it is to be communicated, and when it is to be communicated. So these are all the different rules which governs the data communication. So the key elements of protocols are syntax, semantics, and timing. So coming to the syntax, it refers to the structure or format of the data. So in this presentation, I am following some structure, right? So on the top I have written something called protocols in bold and kept in the middle, and in the left I have kept some side heading. So this is all nothing but it is a syntax. So if you see this one, you think that this is main heading and these are side headings and these are some bulletin points. So in the same way, whenever sender is sending some information to the receiver, so the receiver should understand the structure or format of the data. Say he may understand that the first 8 bits may be the sender's address, the second 8 bits may be the receiver's address, and all the other remaining data bits are information or original data. So this indicates how to read the bits and how to delineate the different fields in a given bit stream. The second one comes the semantics. So semantics is nothing but, so whenever we have a particular syntax, so that should be meaningful. So whenever I'm going to follow some rules, like, so I have written some thing in a bold font, but if this is not readable, this is according to the syntax, but it is not following the semantics because it is not understandable if I have written some other language. Okay, so here I am going to follow some semantics, that is it has to interpret the meaning of the bits, not just mere existence of bits, but it should interpret the meaning of the bits. So that is the receiver should know which field is going to define what kind of action. The next one is timing. So timing refers to when the data should be sent and what kind of data should be sent, that is at what speed the data should be sent, because the receiver can receive the data or the receiver may not receive the data because the receiver is slow when compared to the sender. So the sender must know the timing of the receiver, so he must know the speed at which the data should be sent or the speed at which the data is being received by the receiver. So these are the three different key elements of the protocols, which are nothing but syntax, semantics and timings. And the next one is standards. So what are standards? So standards are essential in creating and maintaining an open and competitive market for equipment manufacturers. So these standards are necessary for guaranteeing national and international operability of data and telecommunication technologies and processes. So the data communication standards into two categories. The first one is by fact, which is nothing but a de facto standard, by law, which is nothing but de jure standard. So de facto standard is nothing but the standards that have not been approved by an organizational body, but they have been adopted as standards through widespread use. So these are called de facto standards. So coming to de jure standard, these are the standards which have been legislated officially by some recognized bodies. So we have some types of standard organizations. So these standards are developed through the cooperation of standards creation committees, forums and government regulatory agencies. So here are the list of some of the standards organization. International Organization for Standardization, also called as ISO, and next International Telecommunication Union, Telecommunication Standards Sector, ITUT, American National Standards Institute, also called as ANSI, Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineer, also called as IEEE, and Electronic Industries Association. So these are all the different types of standards which are going to generate some standards. Thank you.